Okay, does that improve anything? Alright, finally. Does that improve anything? Alright, finally. Oh, excuse that one. Right. For whatever reason, the stream was not picking up the sound. Um, Even though everything seemed to be configured correctly. I'm just going to double check one or two settings. Something might have gotten a bit messed up over time. So yeah, I have honestly no idea why the microphone wasn't picking up. I could get game audio okay, but not the microphone. And as far as I can see, everything was configured correctly. So who knows? But let's see. So I'm back on my lonesome again. We don't have our dear boy Tox with us today. Unfortunately, he stayed up all night, just binge watching. I can't think of a good like girl show to drop him in it, but nah, he was out, so he only went to bed like 4 hours ago. So hey, buddy, if you're watching this as post event, hey. So I hop back on Dual Universe again, which actually I should bring that back up. The log. We've had quite a bit of that research going, including, possibly most notably, the dynamic core expertise is now mastered at level 4. I don't know if we can actually get that done. So here you see my rather haphazardly laid out industry stuff. Here's the most basic assembler. Here's the slightly better assembler. Here's a slightly better assembler, and you'll never guess, but this one at the end that's the biggest one, the exact same thing, but just bigger, is better. There is one more above this that I haven't actually done, the XL, but that would require a couple of hours of grinding stuff, and honestly, to my understanding of this game, the Sanctuary Zone where I have been stranded, part of the reason it's such a pain to actually get the resources here is because you can't realistically mine them. I found that my little tile is actually not just resource poor, that's just legitimately how they all are. And yeah. So what I'm hoping to try and do, and I think I had a dynamic core around here somewhere. Yeah, I've got an S size. That might be enough to make a small ship. I think I might have to claim terrain in order to mine elsewhere. I'm honestly not sure how that works. But what we can do... God, was it planet elements? No, okay. Lord knows where it actually was anymore. No. There is, so over here. Okay, excuse the fact that apparently my hands are actually disabled. Right. I think the territory unit. I might need one of these. And it was assembly line M, which explains why we couldn't find it on the L-size assembler. So basic fixation, this polycarbonate plastic, that's not too bad. And it seems to be that we can just straight up add these. So that produces 10 at a time. Let's get 2 of those on the go. Uncommon 3D printer M, which I have a horrible feeling uncommon fixation. Right. Yeah, this thing is... Can't Can't remember what that thing is, honestly. Yeah, it's been a little while. It's been a little while. Unfortunately, I don't just get to do this all the time, much to my dismay. I have to work a day job in the week, and it's been a busy week. It's been a hot week. Japan just had a typhoon blowover, which invariably brings with it a warm period, and it was warm anyway. Now it's humid, it's sticky, it's nasty. Which of these was it? Okay. Take a look at the L size. Industry. Okay, here we go. But I feel like I had the 3D printer. The icon doesn't look familiar. That might legitimately be... Okay, that's quite unfortunate. Very unfortunate. And my shoulder is still giving me grief. I think the microphone might have actually picked up that crack. Apologies for that. Right. So. Looks like we need to find ourselves one of these. So the basic pipes, basic injector. We can open this up over here. 3D printer. M. So in these chests I do have some vague stuff, but yeah, not enough to get this going. So this one will probably require the full 40. Gonna have to get rid of this for now. We'll deal with that later, as the case may be. So 40 of those requires this silamin, which we do have a bunch of. Let's just get that going. Then these basic injectors, 25 of those, and I'm pretty sure I don't have any. Need 100 screws and 150 is polycarbonate plastic. Let's take a look. We have basically no screws, and that polycarbonate plastic, basically none. So this is going to sting a little bit. We're going to need to produce a full 2 of those, which is a whole bunch of carbon. That requires farming. And then 100 of these we'll take. Which 100 steel may be doable. Okay, we've got 42. Alright, so that also requires more steel. Which again is going to be another 50 carbon. So let's just get that queuing. About 250 of this. Close enough. And the hydrogen's fine. The steel will also require 100 pure iron, which again don't have. And don't have in any useful quantity. So with dual universe, what I've come to find is that there's a whole bunch of this really sort of monotonous sitting around waiting for crafts. The mining at the moment is entirely manual, which hurts in a way I can't even quite quantify. Good. We have enough for that. And 25 basic components, so we'll pull 49 of this across. God, how many basic components did I say? 25. Alright. Help if I can remember anything longer than about 6 seconds. Wonderful. Wonderful. And last ingredient is a basic reinforced frame, which is more steel. So I guess we're crafting 2 of those. Let's bump off the 1. So then we now need 200 pure iron. We had, what was it, like 35 sat in here? Yeah, 35. So we can get away with that much of the iron. That's fine. And the carbon is going to be a 100 plus 200. unsurprisingly, a total of 300. And we have just enough to make that work without adding any additionals into it. Don't remember why I have 20 aluminium in my inventory. Might just be at random. So, don't need aluminium for this. We do need some of that. We do need a lot of that. Alright. So, for 270 carbon, what I've been doing is get this figure. So, about 390. So, I'm unfortunately going to have to start again with running around and mining things. They seem to have not updated any more of the rocks recently. Although I did note, the previous times I was playing, they had updated the malachite at least. So it kind of looks like malachite. You can see a little bit over here actually. That's pretty cool. Don't know about the glowing lines, but I'm pretty sure that's not a realism feature. That is a you can now see this feature, which is alright. Since the undergrowth is actually showing up now, which it was not by any stretch on the first night, the glowing lines really help you to figure out what you're looking at, or that indeed you're even looking at anything at all. So it's alright. It's alright. Yeah, I'm not gonna fault them for that. Sometimes with gaming, you sometimes have certain gamified elements that combine and sort of draw compromise between the realism features and usability features. Readability, it's a necessary thing. It's no good if your game looks absolutely realistic, but nobody can even see what they're doing. So, that's a thing. I probably should be picking up some of the hematite? Let's go with hematite. The iron ore, essentially. We should be grabbing a little bit of that, because we're going to need about, 360 of it? Now, I think ultimately I come to the conclusion with this game that very much so you need a good amount of support. You're going to need to bring a few people with you, have a group of people, and together you will be able to achieve, well, what you see like YouTubers and other Twitch streamers doing, where even if you don't see it directly, probably behind the scenes they have some level of support. Now granted, if I had just gone, really hardcore on this, I could be pretty well set up. As things are, my industry is... Oh, okay. I could have actually stopped harvesting that quite some time ago. 260, not 360. My mistake. Okay, that's going to be pretty easy to finish off. And then... Come on, there we are. That should now be crafting, and the rest should go down like a series of extremely well-placed dominoes. Of course, there's whole domino things where you line them up, and yeah, I hated that. I hated that. I had a whole set when I was a kid, and the slightest motion around the room, they all go down, and you rage. You rage. If you've just spent an hour laying down these dominoes really intricately, and then somebody walks through the room with kind of heavy feet, suddenly they all go down, it's just like... And that's it. So, out of crafting, what have I done wrong with this? 20 iron short. Possibly because I left that in there, but I factored it into the calculations. So that should now be lying to us. It definitely has enough materials. Right. So this has not been used pretty much. Just once or twice. I picked at it a little bit, but yeah, no, this will serve us for the ground. I might want those atmospheric engines, or I might look into making, you know, some really, really big atmospheric engines. So, not sure if I can find it in here, but oh, here we go. Large atmospheric engines. And there's quite a few of them, and I'm not sure what the essential difference is, really, because it just says same over there. So, warm-up time. This box, I wish I could resize it, because it's difficult to digest 3 lines at a time like this. Yeah. Couldn't really tell you here. I feel like the main difference is saying different tiers, and there's different warm-up times. Is that the only stat that's changing? No, not quite. Very minor changes in resistance. See, now, maneuver atmospheric engine doesn't sound like a big engine. Is it just appearance based or something? Or couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you. But these, so the basic screws, we've just been crafting those. Basic injectors, we've just been crafting those. Basic combustion chamber, never seen. L, that would usually indicate that it's coming off of one of the like industry pieces. And the reinforced frame, that's an L. That's also crafted. So, I mean, these are pretty realistically achievable, honestly, I think. The space engines, again, this is what, tier 1, and suddenly these are tier 2. Now, these have differences in the maximum thrust, I just noticed. The military definitely goes up. Why would we not do the military? Possibly because the components are a lot more irritating. I'll prefer ship, it's going to be fine. Is that actually the case with this one as well? Or... Yeah. So the military one has slightly more thrust. Makes sense. And safe? Safe? Who wants safe? I don't come here to be safe. Right. So this is going alright so far. No, let's actually go up to 25. Okay. Right on the money. And this should all... Did I also not account for getting out the extra steel? Possibly. Feel like... Yeah. Okay, so we've just pulled another 24 steel out, and that is great. So... let's look into putting those big beefy engines up on it. I kinda want to put the military ones on. High-tech transportation, anti-gravity generator, warp drive units. Now, actually, warp drive. Now, this is real distances that they're dealing with. Interesting. Real distances. So, without that warp drive, it would probably be kind of a long flight to get between planets and whatever. But this anti-gravity generator. Grant larger vessels the capability of negating gravity and atmosphere. Anti-gravity generators need to be paired with pulsers and do not function under 1,000 meters. Small anti-gravity generators can be used on 64-meter dynamic core units and require 6 pulses for... Let's look at those later. For now... F-foil. Yeah, those might be pertinent, but we will see. For now, at the very least, we should get a couple of atmospheric engines going. Oh, do I want to try and spring for fancy stuff? Let's just go basic. Let's just go basic. We can upgrade to the military stuff later if we're really obsessed with it. Now, I think I want at least 2 of these? Maybe? So... atmospheric engine L. So there we go. So 216 screws. This is not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty. So at the very minimum, I want 21 of these. Which is surprisingly reasonable on the steel, but we definitely need to go crafting a bit more of that. Which will mean, again, 300 of this. And, whoops, and 150 of the carbon. Which, come to think of it, yeah, we're going to have to do an extra craft on that. Okay. So, the main gameplay loop at the moment is definitely not that nice. Just plebbing around, pulling... Okay, we need 1,000 additional screws. I think mistakes have been made. That's definitely what I'm getting from this. Well, don't I wish I'd looked into this a little bit more off-stream? Oh, how much for 1,000 of this? We're going to be just grinding for days. Let's do it up to that. We can always add more after everything's done. So 1,300 and 650. This doesn't sound like nightmare fuel. Well, there we go. So I was under the impression that I had actually got most of the work done, that this would not be as bad. That, you know, getting all the industry and other stuff set up, that's going to produce a little bit extra, so we can skimp on that. Yeah, getting all the industry done, that would save a lot of pain. Nope. Metalwork Industry M. More steel. So 686. Probably get away with that. And where are we? 250 of these. That's 5. And Silliman is going to want probably... I'll take that. Go with that. Alright. Basic reinforced frame. L size. 515 of this. Yeah, so they told me there'd be days like this. They told me there'd be days like this. So I think what the plan will be is to set these crafting operations up here. I have not added the additional materials necessary for this steel, I believe. Which makes that another 900. Well, at least that's a nice round number, like 20. Right. And how much of this? 450. Well, of course it is. That's just around 10. The Silliman. $301.50. Alright. Alright. Now this has a bunch, so I'm gonna just add in that 270. And God, just brain me again. Yeah, 150. Which, give or take, will probably be covered by that. So let's just check that we've got enough aluminium, yes, enough silicon, yes. So, yeah, we just got 3,000 of this stuff to harvest up. Yeah, so how about that? May as well drag this out for, sake of argument. And what I will do is I will put this black aluminium over here. Yes, it's aluminium, it's not aluminum. Look at it. Aluminium. There's an extra I at the end. Right. Yeah, I know. Don't be a douche, right? So, time to pleb around and pick up a whole bunch of rocks. And I know that this might be overkill for a first vessel, but you know what? I'm not the sort of person who does things in half measures. And the more rocks we can bring back with us, the better. I shove a lot of storage containers on it. Maybe the large ones? I haven't actually experimented with the large storage containers. As you can probably see back there, I've got what's considered the small. There's like extra small. So I've got some that are a little bit bigger. But I haven't gone for the super large containers. But it would be nice to be able to strap some of those onto a vehicle. I should probably consider making a control seat. Some sort of cockpit. It's going to be interesting. But, you know, I didn't expect it to be over quickly. Pretty much the objective for the entire stream is going to be this. So while I'm plebbing around mining resources, yeah. So I think the next thing that I'm really interested in playing, but you can't play yet because it's under NDA, so I also can't really say anything, but Ashes of Creation. Which, for anybody who doesn't know, it's very close to hitting the mark for what I call a perfect MMO. And there's a few things I think I would still want them to do differently, but I'm not going to complain. They're going leaps and bounds ahead of what the industry standard is. I mean, when you look at what's on offer, you've got the old World of Warcraft, which has been monotonous for quite some time now. I think most people really got finished off with Garrisons, and then Garrisons 2.0, which was just tiresome. And they say, oh, Shadowlands is going to fix a whole bunch of stuff, but yeah, fool me once, shame on you, etc. WoW Classic, of course, was definitely right up my alley. Unfortunately, being my time zone, working quite a bit, I couldn't afford to really stay up all night to play with all my friends in Europe, so I wasn't really able to get as into that as I wanted to. I still leveled with them, and I helped them in their initial raids just to get things rolling when they were still making up numbers, but that was about the limit of it. So, in my mind, World of Warcraft is an overglorified AFK simulator these days. It really does feel more like a mobile app than an MMO. And that's fine. If they're still pulling in good money, if there are people out there who still enjoy it, fair enough. But, randomly respawning things. Oh, so a question I had from my first night. Yes, indeed, the things do respawn on you. Unless, of course, you destroy the terrain like I did over there. Because I don't want rocks under my platform that are just going to wind me up. Clip through. Yeah. So, other things I've been dabbling with. Final Fantasy XIV, which... let's just say that, considering the year that released, there is almost no voice acting on any of the dialogue. My first 30 minutes was spent just clicking through an overglorified visual novel. Meanwhile, there's somebody out there who really enjoys the game, who is just like, what the hell are you talking about, mate? It's a good game, it's a good game. I can kind of see the charm, and it's very, very well populated. Very well populated. But in terms of the actual combat, I couldn't play my traditional caster class because it was just horrendous. The mechanics for the thaumaturge were mind-numbingly horrible, unrewarding, anti-fun. I just couldn't stand it. Playing around with a Guardian is a little bit better, but I'm only just starting to unlock some abilities now. The abilities up until this point have been very, very much just press this button, then press this button, then press the first button again, then press the second button again, and just repeat ad infinitum. And oh no, there's more than one mob. Let's hit the AoE button a few times, and that doesn't feel particularly challenging or interesting. People say it's like, oh, highly skill-based and whatever, but what I've seen of the dungeons was very much just standard action MMO stuff. Oh look, the boss is going to fire something in this direction next, don't stand in it. So if you've got reaction times faster than molasses, then you should be fine. Certainly going back a little bit, and you'd really have to dig up on my YouTube channel for this. If anybody ever saw me play Secret World, that sort of thing is not going to challenge me. Secret World was much faster, much crueler, and just fine. It still gave you too much warning for stuff. In terms of people saying that the positioning is challenging, I've definitely not seen anything that would compare to, let's say, Vanilla WoW's Siphun, which is pronounced Siphun, and I'll explain why. Because despite the fact that you'll hear it in Hearthstone where they're like, Kafun! The person who voiced that wasn't involved with making AQ. And if you ever dug into the game files, the model for Siphun was literally written out phonetically, like Seeve, like Seethun. Hence, that's how I'm going to pronounce it. And anybody who disagrees, you're just going to have to deal with it, alright? But yeah, nothing on the level of that kind of positioning. So, all in all, that's been an interesting game to run around with a couple of friends, and it's okay. Got my chocobo, which essentially means I've completed the game. This is not coal. And that's about that, really. I'd be interesting to see... I'd be interesting? No, I would be interested to see how the paladin mechanics kick in a little bit later. Unfortunately, I've not had the... I'd say the friend that I was running around with most has not been around as much recently. I guess it's just a schedule mismatch. He's back in England, I'm not. And there's not that much motivation to play it by myself, which I think says a lot. I think what I would like to do on this note is to actually go around and produce a few YouTube videos on, you know, what's the current state of things in 2020, give my thoughts, opinions, that sort of thing, and generally just tear apart the hard work of hundreds of people. Not in a cruel way, but in a legitimate, like if I say that the combat in Final Fantasy XIV is tedious, then conceivably, if the developers really care and we're going to get sensitive about it, then, you know, they can come and fix it. Of course, said developers are Japanese, and even though I live here and could theoretically speak to them, they're not going to listen to me for reasons. And that's just that. But yeah, going back to the point about Ashes of Creation, pretty much everything that is on the market right now does not even come close to the kind of... World control is the biggest thing, I think I would say there. The node system, which I'm not allowed to comment on, but you can watch preview videos and such. It seems like an absolutely fascinating system. The fact that you could create a town, the fact you could become mayor of a town. It's very player-led, very player-determined, and that's kind of wonderful. I do worry that essentially it will just be a streamer game, so all the mayors are streamers, or at the very least the streamers control who the mayor is, just because that, you know, it's the Asmongold's of the internet who just have 1,000 people tailing him around, and that essentially determines what happens where. So I don't know how I feel about that one. I think I prefer the idea that the regular player could rise up, and if you do a good job, you get the job. But, I mean, you know, if it's a democracy, you can vote however the hell you want in whatever terms that you want, so that's just going to be life, isn't it? But ultimately, the whole thing, it just seems like the MMO very close, I should say, to the MMO that I always wanted to play, the sort of theoretical, perfect MMO that I had in my head for about the last 15 years. And it comes very close to that. There's a few things I still disagree with, naturally, but that's bauxite. But, you know, you can't have it all. And at the end of the day, it's not like I can walk in and tell them what their vision of a game should be. Maybe I'm wrong, you know? Maybe this is the culmination of 15 years of them determining what they believe a perfect MMO would look like. And whilst I could try and make a case in objective terms for why I disagree, a lot of it is going to be somewhat subjective. Although I would definitely say that the idea that having levels in an MMO is a harmful artifact of the pen and paper days, I think I can make a good case for that being an objective argument. And probably will. Yep, may as well. So, in essence, when you level up in D&D, it's something that happens in the background. It's kind of a track of how your character has progressed up until that point. But conceivably, if you wanted to, you could just roll a character at level 50 with those kinds of stats. It wouldn't have the journey leading up to that point. It's just about, I guess, easing people into the campaign and increasing the possibilities as you all grow together and get things done. It makes sense there, because you level up in the background as a result of the action, but the main action doesn't really care about your levels. It just doesn't. And that's fine. It works. It's a way to track. You could call it something else, but the basic principle, it works. When you move to single-player games like video games, it also still sort of makes sense. But I guarantee that most of us have played single-player RPGs, which have a system that feels like leveling, but is not explicitly levels. And what this is the steady drip of abilities and power as the game progresses, which makes sense. It allows you to ramp up, get a feel for it, and develop alongside the story. That makes complete sense. And it works in that setting. Move forward to an MMO. Now, the good things that leveling in an MMO does, it provides you a slow drip of abilities that allows you to get to grips with your character and learn it without being overwhelmed from the beginning. And it's usually a good excuse to play through some sort of story to help immerse you and get you involved in that world that you are playing. But there are ways to do that in an MMO without levels. What a lot of MMOs seem to end up doing is that the levels... Oh, come on, really? Get off. The levels are just a barrier to the content that you actually want to do, which is the endgame stuff. And the people who say, oh, but I enjoy leveling, yes, but you could still have that same experience without forcing everybody else to also go through it as a mandatory part. You know, a series of just hurdles that you get over in order to get to the endgame content. Don't get me started on the time a few years ago in Star Trek Online where somebody started laughing at the fact that I said endgame. So it's an MMO, you can't complete an MMO. Please don't be that person. Look up what MMO means in an industry context. No, look up what endgame means in an MMO in an industry context. You can still have that gameplay experience. You don't need the levels. Now, the original release of The Secret World was a pretty good example of a quote-unquote levelless MMO. However, the shrewd observer would have noticed that the levels were simply transferred from your character onto the equipment you were using, which served as the leveling. But what that would theoretically have allowed you to do, if you really wanted to, was... You have 4 established friends, and oh, your new friend is just hopping in, but oh no, we have to wait for hours for him to play through this storyline before we can do something. Nope. Again, referring to the YouTube channel way back in like 2012. A friend and I were two-manning what at the time was the hardest content in the game. And we did just fine. If you have 4 people, that becomes a face roll. You can do that. One person who isn't really pulling any weight can tag along quite comfortably. It's not going to cripple you. And within that is... within that is a gateway to basically... Your friend can start... You can dump him in the gear, bam, he's immediately able to then walk into the harder content with you. Now, when the Nightmare stuff came out, there was a barrier to getting into the Nightmare content. There was gear checks, and that's not the sort of thing that you're going to be able to get around, but you know, in a theoretical sense, if we assume that they very much had the right idea. And you give me yes. Now it's trying to produce the carbon, and we can't produce the carbon because carbon is the... Yes. All well and good. So you can do away with levels in an MMO. And for the record, Secret World had sort of isolated stories between the 3 main areas of the leveling areas. It was good. The Secret World originally did a lot of things right. Unfortunately, the company mismanaged it horribly, and it was 6 months before the first raid came out, by which point a lot of guilds had fallen apart, and honestly, we just didn't have the stomach to stick it out anymore. Which was a great, crushing shame. No inventory. So that's an example of where you can do away with the levels. Now, in terms of that, you would unlock action points and develop the character, and I kind of get that. That is a way to do it. I personally would be doing it very differently. Consider for a moment that if you want to learn how to fight in real life, you don't walk out onto the street and start punching people until you get an arbitrary skill up, and now suddenly you can punch better with 2 hands or perform kicks. It just doesn't work that way, and you're going to get arrested. What you do is you go off and you train somewhere. You train like a legitimate human being. This is like... Oh, I don't even know. So, why can't you splice the character power unlocking and the storyline as a gameplay experience in of itself. 1885, so I need like 500 more. In of itself. That way you can focus resources on just user experience and make that really smooth and polished and engaging without the need for the levels. You know, just start you in a field with a stick and then you go off to some dojo to learn how to use a sword instead of running off and kill 20 boars with that stick and, oh, here you go, here's some XP and some gold. Like, honest to God, that wasn't fun in 2003 when I was doing it in the WoW beta, and it's definitely not fun now. The fact that so many modern MMOs are coming out without that concept. And just to be clear, I'm not the biggest fan of running out here and grinding 200 little pieces of iron either. This is even less engaging than killing the boars. There is, on the roadmap on the login screen, some reference to some sort of automatic mining, but they've also gone on record saying that they don't want automatic mining because they feel it will screw the balance. I'll tell you for a fact right now, what you've essentially got here is almost like a Minecraft MMO, but snazzier. This gameplay loop, for the vast majority of people, is not satisfying, it's not fun. Yes, I should be on another planet right now, mining much better sources of minerals, but even still, it doesn't explicitly make that clear. In fact, the tutorials for this game tell you to come to this place, sit your ass down, and just grind. You're going to chase away a lot of prospective players with this, because the potential here is good. It's good. But anyway, so the bulk of modern MMOs are still sending you out to grind 20 boars, just arbitrary, tedious, annoying things that don't actually make for an enriching and fun gameplay experience. There are the odd rare gems, for example, referring back to Final Fantasy XIV, where there is an intriguing system where you can essentially use the same character to level every single class. There's crafting classes. You can level yourself up to the max level exclusively as a crafter, and you seem to be able to level secondary classes faster once, like, up to the level of your maximum class level, which I haven't really gotten around to experimenting with yet, but that seems like a very nice anti-time wasting mechanic, which is good in a game that seems very determined to sink a whole bunch of your time. And to be clear, the visual novel stuff, I pretty much have no idea what's going on in the story. It was too tedious for me to read through, and I'm somebody who usually loves to understand that stuff. It was too tedious for me. Now, for a game that released in, I want to say 2016, but I have a weird feeling it was 2014, don't quote me on this. But Star Wars: The Old Republic, released in 2011? Fully voice acted. And then a game 5 years later isn't. The game 5 years later still feels very much like you're playing even a late 90s MMO in some ways. But don't get me wrong, Star Wars: The Old Republic gets a very, very good representation of how you can do story very well in an MMO. And I would go so far as to say that it is the premier MMO WGSP game, which is a massively multiplayer online wallet gouging single player game. Because of course, EA is in charge of the monetization, and they charge you for action bars. Idiots. This is gonna take forever. I should have been harvesting carbon. Wait, really? That's, well, okay then. Yeah. yeah, let's not argue with that. So onto Carbon. Yeah, the Old Republic had great potential, scuppered by just exploitative and outright nasty monetization. I found the gameplay at the time for that to be kind of entertaining. It was on par with what you got from World of Warcraft at the time, which was still Wrath of the Lich King just about. I think Cataclysm was just on the horizon. It also required a hell of a lot more skill to play than Wrath of the Lich King did. Dear Lord. For more information on that, ask my dear friend Glenn what druids do. But, other stuff? Yeah. And monetization. There's too much of that. Too much of that. Too many free-to-plays that just pound you. And for the longest time, Star Trek Online had what was probably a very fair model for monetization. However, they've been taken over by a guy who gets a massive raging boner for mobile games, so they're now attempting to exploit the hell out of you and see what kind of garbage they can get away with. There's basically no new content. I would not recommend really getting into that game right now. And definitely don't invest money in it. Worth noting that I had a lifetime subscription since before that game actually released. I grew up on Star Trek. I was wearing a Star Trek shirt last week on stream, for Christ's sake, on the Monday at least. So that's a big thing for me. And I'd been following it since it was still Perpetual Entertainment in the pre-alpha and all the rest of it. So I've been there for a very long time. I got like mass discount, and that lifetime sub has paid itself off like 5 times over. And even I feel like I want a refund for that lifetime subscription that has paid itself off 5 times over 10 years later, based on what they are doing with their monetization right now. And just the general decisions. Yeah. And yeah, again, I'd love to do some thoughts on that one at some point. But that's essentially what we got on the market. Just a whole bunch of things that still haven't really moved past World of Warcraft's formula. Probably the best thing was Arcade Original 2014. The Arcade Unchained finally had the correct monetization model. Unfortunately, it's been horribly mismanaged, and a lot of the game updates ruined a lot of things. Like, the new form of trading is boring. Really, really boring. Like, what fun is it if everybody just sits on a little safety ship? May as well wrap them in bubble wrap and give them a teddy bear to cuddle. It's just pathetic. The whole point of that game was the PvP, but you take away the PvP on one of the main areas that you would want to PvP. And one of the main areas that was ultimately fun. Freedick Island, as it was. Definitely called Freedick, because that's exactly what you get if you go there. But it's spelled D-I-C-H. Don't get me in trouble for my correct pronunciation of how that should be sounded. If, I don't know, I guess you put on a very thick Scottish accent, which I'm not going to do because I'll offend, well, my Scottish relatives and Scottish people in general. That's exactly what you would get for going to that island. And you'd go there at 4 in the morning, and you would get a fight. It was great. So how many of these do we still need to get this rolling? Not that many. 3 more should do the trick. Okay. So you may have noticed that within my little hex, the foliage is growing. Not growing in this hex. You have a barren, bald, unsightly hex. But whose hex am I in? I'm now completely surrounded. This guy is Helgard. Oh wait, I am in my hex still. Okay. Unfortunately, our one buddy who got the hex there. Everybody else, good luck with that. You're not going to be anywhere close. So if you want to use my industry, you're going to have to take a bit of a trip to get over here. But it'll be okay. It'll be okay. Arcade was much more sandbox. And given the technologies that we have these days, we really should be seeing a lot more progress in the sandbox MMO. Unfortunately, as said, after the 2014 release of Arcade, it went progressively more towards the sort of World of Warcraft theme park style, and just ruined itself. It took away everything that was fun about it. That was a stupid decision by them. Really stupid decision. That seems to be what most people are going for. The sandbox MMOs don't really work. This is sort of an example of a sandbox MMO. A lot of people are not thinking of it that way. A lot of people are not even thinking of it, not even thinking of it as an MMO, which seems very strange to me. But it is what it is. It's definitely, I mean, you just needed to look at the starting platform with all of the speeders left there. It's MMO as hell. So, pure iron, 900. 20 of that. Just wince a little bit at uncomfortable. Okay. Okay. We are going to get there in the end. These basic pipes, injectors, and such, those needed to go somewhere. Let's get out of this crafter, and we needed to make a 3D printer. M size. Okay, make one of them. Start! Oh, wow. Okay. So after I was... Ooh, boy. Okay, yeah. I guess after I set this all up, I never actually linked everything back up. And that export into this. You also... Okay. Okay. So, yeah, let's just link everything back up. I'm not sure if I like this particular system for linking things. Yes, it allows you to do particularly clever stuff, but I don't want to do clever stuff with it right now. So it ends up being kind of a tedious and... Whoops. A tedious and annoying system where I have to manually relink all of these crafting things back into the exact same two chests. That's a little anti-fun. But, yeah, I can see the possibilities for, like, proper production lines further down, where the output goes into a chest, which is then picked up by the next crafter, and it specifically functions in those terms. Yeah, I could see that having some decent value to it, but at the same time... Right, so this is going to take about 30 minutes, which is pretty standard. I had some stuff crafting the other day, which took about 2 hours in various pieces. I think it was a total of 4 hours crafting, so I actually just got up, logged out, walked away, and it was still crafting in the background, which was quite lovely, actually. These nanopack upgrades, actually, I should take a look at... bloody hell, this UI is... unkind. If I click that, now I get those across the top. It's... I feel like those should be across the top at all times. Even if you go in down the menu here, it would just feel better, I think. So... Now there is something around here to do with the territory claims, I think, that we probably need to get. But again, there's no search feature or assistance with this, so you just kind of have to go through it. And if you don't remember where something was, you're screwed. And for the record, the fifth one, you'd expect an XL size. I guess it doesn't exist yet. Maybe they're working on that. Maybe they're not. Or maybe it just doesn't list it, because it does say static core unit unlock. Tell you what, we are going to take the dynamic core. Oh boy, that's pricey. Double the price. We are going to queue that. And we're going to put it here. And we're going to see, you know, after this completes in 5.5 days, and then that completes in almost 6 days, so a grand total of about 2 weeks, then we will see if it unlocks an XL that is just not listed, but you would think it would list it. I guess I may as well list this as well. That will only take 2 days and 21 hours. That's a big step up. Excellent. So, where are we with this? Still producing steel. Still need... Nope, not 30, not 10. Curse these fat fingers. Not really. 1,300 iron. To be manually mined. We have a lot of coal. We've got that going for us at least, which is nice. I'm gonna pop the carbon over here. Steel over here. And actually, let's dump the oxygen and the hydrogen that we have. Likewise. You, actually, I'm going to put you back in here, now that it's pulled the other 36 off. And so now we should be able to fit quite a bit more iron in our inventory. That's bauxite. Yeah. So, having trash talked a whole bunch of other MMOs, I guess the obvious question is, having dabbled with this for a couple of weeks off and on now, what do I think? This gameplay loop here is tedious. I don't like it. And the fact that the tutorial literally tells you to come here and not to immediately abandon this planet and go somewhere else, not that great. And if you want to make a ship that is capable of carrying any amount of stuff, you pretty much need to build up all that industry and get it rolling. That's a little anti-fun. I think we need some sort of simplistic auto mining thing. Even if it's just like a little Roomba that goes around your territory and only gives you like 1,000 materials per, let's say like 100 materials an hour. So like a laughably low sum, right? Even if it was that, I would see it as a positive. Because if I haven't logged into this in 24 hours, I come back knowing and dreading the fact that I have to do this. And this is very much anti-fun. But if I know that I will come back and I will have at least some resources that have been harvested by this little Roomba thing, that helps your motivation a little bit. And yeah, destroying market balance? Nah, it's just the very, very basic materials. Even if you only do like the tier 1 stuff. So you don't even touch the malachite. That would be enough, as we are witnessing with me trying to make these engines, to get you off the Sanctuary Moon. Without you having to go through the tedium and basically bore yourself out of playing the game. For all that talk of balance, that's a developer talking about what they imagine the gameplay will be like. They need to actually sit down and play it with an objective, sort of dispassionate position and consider, is this gameplay loop actually fun? Does this feel like a punishment or does it feel rewarding? And from that, I pretty sure they will just determine this is punishing. It's not rewarding. So you need to do something about that. You want the players to focus on the parts of the game, like the main gameplay loop, the fun gameplay loops. Not just any gameplay loop. Don't be leveling in an MMO and just waste people's time to delay them from getting to the end to see that you didn't actually add any content. I don't know if you have any content. There are people talking about the other planets. Do I get to go there? Not yet. We're working on it. But it's the fact that none of this is really brought to the fore. So a lot of players would just be like, this feels like Minecraft, but less charming and more tedious. And then they'd just go and play Minecraft, probably with mods to add space. And could you honestly blame them? That's what you need to get away from. Now, the game, in principle, is a wonderful idea. I think I described it in the sense that it is like Minecraft and Star Citizen had a really weird child together, and this is what fell out. Quite a few people make the comparison to Star Citizen, but this is legitimately doing something a little bit different, a little bit interesting, a little bit engaging in a different way. And don't get me wrong, I have a good laugh on Star Citizen, which I suppose I'll have to stream at some point, but that thing, given that I'm streaming from the same PC that I'm playing from at the moment, because, you know, despite the hardware I've got in this, if I said I can't actually spare the cash to put together a streaming PC yet, people would probably scoff and laugh. What? Two 2080 Ti's are not enough. Oh, by the way, the 3090 is out and it just pisses on you from an extreme height. Yeah, thanks for that. I got these things 2 years ago. They've had a good life. But, you know, essentially, if you can afford that, why can you not afford to put an extra streaming PC at the side? Simple fact is, I built this rig. It's sort of a reward for myself. At that point, I'd been in Japan for a year. Everything was good. Everything was happy. Got myself a wife, a nice house, 2 cats, good job. Actually earning myself some respect with a people who inherently don't respect you because you're a foreigner. That's a big deal. And we knew that we sort of, at the time I was doing this, we were trying for kids. And I think I got the news, like, personally, that we had, shall we say, been successful with the first part of that while I was putting this together. And I knew that raising kids, you ain't gonna have a lot of cash to splash around anymore. In fact, a lot of my cash just goes on buying things for kiddo. Even silly things, like recently I bought him a little stool to sit on. Looks like a mushroom. Getting Mario vibes out of it. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to splash out on hardware, so I just built the absolute beastiest PC I possibly could at the time, 2 years ago. The 2080 Ti's were new at the time, and the 30 series was not even on the horizon. Now, things are a little bit different. I'd have to scrimp and scrap things together, and I would like to do it because playing Star Citizen will tank my frame rate. Hands down, it will tank the frame rate. Even this PC, if I'm having to process the stream and process that game, because whilst I can still get above 60 FPS on it under normal circumstances with the maxed out graphics, people are now just rolling their eyes and weeping. It's still... I have seen frame drops. Granted, that can also just be a beta thing, but it happens. And if you're also trying to stream, here we go. Cross the threshold for the hematite without even noticing. Nice. Oh, picked up some raw aluminium at some point. Yeah. Basically, I'm not going to be able to stream and play Star Citizen very well. But I would like to bring it up on stream. Actually, I would kind of like to bring it up on stream at the moment, if any of my friends were available to drag into it, because they have a free period right now, which is actually great fun. Great fun. And it means that there is the opportunity to bring people into it. Alright, so next, the aluminium, 270 of that. Oh, only 300. Which I basically have. This is a good day. This is a good day. Temporarily. I wish that the tools... yeah. Ah. Well, there we go. Yeah, so there was a filter all along, and I've just been an idiot and haven't actually filtered it. I was literally about to complain, pseudo-complain. I wish there was a filter for this, it'd be very useful. Okay, so I need 7 more of this. Just because there's the odd 2. Really, all the iron now. There's bauxite everywhere while I was looking for the iron. Now there's only iron. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what the British colloquially refer to as sod's law. It's similar to Murphy's law in the sense that everything that can go wrong will go wrong, but much more pessimistic somehow. It's sort of the notion that when you really, like the last thing in the world that you need happening right now is something going wrong, it will blow up in your face. And that's basically British mentality 101. So 195 with quartz. Perfect. Perfect. Right, let's bring these into here, see how full the inventory gets. It's actually pretty bearable. So the steel, I can also do that. You know what? Just for sake of having it look pretty and flush. Oh, yeah. I can bring that in like that. Did I need to make polycarbonate plastic? At this point, I'm even having a hard time remembering what the hell I was doing. Right. Metalwork Industry M, which is this one here. Oh, God. Basic combustion chamber L. Yes. We knew it all along. Basic combustion chamber L, apply. And we're going to want to make 2 of those. We can't do it yet, but we may as well just hit the start button. And then we will get the steel and the basic pipes in there in good time. That is 686. Okay. Which we're gonna definitely put back in here. And the basic pipes, which are going to come a little bit later. You know what? You know what? Maybe in the interest of getting that started, we put it up here. What's actually required for this? This Silumin. So literally, we can't move that any higher up the production queue because we need all of these things to complete it. Yeah, they told me there'd be days like this. Right. So, let's dabble with specific stream news. Sea of Thieves, we had a good run on the arena the other day. And let's just say that somebody got something to me that's particularly difficult to acquire now, considering it's literally impossible in a lot of ways. But they got it over to me, and I re-rolled the character appearance because my dear buddy Tox was frankly sick of looking at that weird pumpkin-shaped head that I had on the super swole character. But I'm looking pretty cool these days, so hopefully we get a look at that soon. However, depending on whether he's up for it, depending on how messed up his sleep schedule is now, I guess if Tox comes back, we may take a look at this. May not. We'll talk about that at the time. Chat when I see you next, man. I hope you're watching this. I hope this is how you find out. Let's see what we're doing there. But Sea of Thieves, definitely. It's a good thing to do in the background. It's good fun. And yeah, I have quite a bit of fun on that. What else can I be doing productively right now? It's also metalwork industry. I guess I could start this crafting first, but for the fact that somehow I guess that's where the rest of that steel comes from? Or maybe it's this down here, where this is still going to require 700 pure iron and 350 carbon. Alright. Again, you know, they told me there'd be days like this. Luckily, it's a little bit better. So I know I can't interrupt this, which, honestly, I might. Wait a minute. Really? Doesn't let me do it now? I know I did this the other day. Am I just being stupid? Who knows? Who knows? 17. It's just notifications about crafting. Apparently I sold a bunch of stuff. Haven't really taken a look at my inventory. Okay, yeah. So I could form that company thing now? What was it? Organization, yeah. I could do it. But you know what? I think people are pretty sick of me attempting this on stream, so I'm not gonna. If I do it, I'll let you know. Or I may just join somebody else's, get some support. But I've got a feeling that I would not be able to do my own projects if I did that. They'd kind of expect me to go along with whatever they're doing, which... doing somebody else's bitch work is not really entertaining to watch. Just a tip for any of you who I'm going to con into doing my bitch work. Alright. So, other than farming this up. 720. Okay. 1040. Coal? Actually, we'll have enough. How did I overfarm that much carbon? How did I miscalculate that? Impressive steel. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get these basic reinforced frames crafting first. Okay. Basic reinforced frame L, which is only steel. Excellent. And hopefully this doesn't screw me if I produce those. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? And I do have it all, don't I? Oh, that's painful. Alright, fair enough. Bauxite, bauxite. There we go. Get a little bit of this in us, and get it crafting again. Aluminium, just need the one. Get it up at the top. Alright, let's take a second. And the silumin will go. Basic pipe. Yep. Okay. Of course, the basic pipe is a little bit moot point because, well, this is going to take 18 minutes-ish each, so about 36 minutes. That's the other thing. If there's a way to speed up the production, it's very much a game of... They kind of expect you to have like 15 of each of these, I suppose, and a whole team of people farming up the stuff to get it rolling. So it's very anti-soloing, which... Yeah, I do like the idea of everybody coming together for the big group stuff, but on the other hand, it is a little depressing. You know, maybe you hate people and you don't want to play with them. Maybe you're just extremely socially awkward to the point that you don't even want to get involved with it online. I guess that would just mean this is not the game for you, but, you know. Still. I would... I'm very much the... I'd like to just get to the meat of it myself first. Nope, that's not the button I was looking for. So we have enough of the carbon. The iron, I'm going to look one last time, I swear. Get the tally for this. 1040. Alright. This is life. We're going to need the steel out to do those. Which I think I'm going to pull out now, just to make sure that it's going. Maybe you hate people. Well, hello, Tox! You woke up! How you feeling? I told everybody that you did a lot of drugs, got arrested, and you're currently in the hospital getting your back stitched up. Tell you what, because I didn't do it, I'm actually going to put myself in the little live channel on the Discord, and if you want to hop your ass in and say hello, you can hop your ass in and say hello. But otherwise, the first part was right, the rest all lies. Fair enough. I'm picking up colored rocks. And I need another 800 of it. It's all bauxite. Bauxite. I'm just going to be the Swedish chef. That's how it's going to be from now. Yeah, the core principle. Just... This is not a single-player game. And that's going to chase a lot of prospective people away before they even get to the organization part. Because naturally, it's going to go the same way that it always goes. The people who recruit are going to be the people that you don't want to join because they just want to exploit you. And the people you do want to join, the new players, how do you even find them? I know I haven't looked at the chat window in 2 weeks. I just opened my eyes, ain't getting in the voice call for another hour. Dude. By that time, we might actually have built 1 or 2 components in order to build this ship that I want to build. Mind you, I don't drink coffee either. Neither do I. I got more salty lychee. which I actually had to go out to 7-Eleven and buy this morning because we drank all of them. Bottled drinks are much easier to deal with if you're on a marathon gaming session. Don't ask me why. It would be better if I still had my USB mini fridge from back in the day so that they remained cool. But, yeah, can't have it all. Damn that good. L. Damn that good, question mark. It's alright. It's alright. It's one of the things here that is drinkable. But to put it bluntly, mostly Japanese taste preference is very different to my taste preference. So I have a very hard time finding things that I really enjoy. The apple juice is a prime example. They're all obsessed with, oh, Aomori apple is best to apple. And it's just this vile, cloying sweetness. Whereas if you ever go to England and buy apple juice, it'll turn your face inside out. That's the stuff. That's what you want to drink. And at least for a time here, I was able to get some good apple juice. It came from Turkey. A favorite of yours, Tox. That was pretty good. Then I guess because they saw the Gaijin was buying it in bulk, they just stopped stocking it in the store. You might laugh, but that's a legitimate thing that happens. So, I discovered my new art form, that I can just mine rocks for days if I babble on incoherently about various MMOs and don't pay attention to how much I've got in my inventory. Pretty good system, it's been working well so far. What is that emote? I have literally never seen you use that one. Okay. Okay. That one I'm definitely going to need to learn the context of. That is ragey emote. But what's ragey? A lack of Turkish apple juice that doesn't taste like... I don't know. I guess it doesn't taste like Barney the dinosaur pissed in a bottle and sold it to you. Just that whole, hello friends! And, okay. Oh. Well, there we go. It actually all crafted and I was being a moron and didn't look. Ciliumin, we have it all. Which means, most distressingly, that I need to farm up more. Oh. Oh, I filled my hydrogen oxygen dumping chest. Yeah, mind you, this is Twitch. Can't have all my Discord emotes here. Not yet. Not yet. Soon. Soon. Alright, so we're gonna need more Ciliumin, like... Well, just one will be fine, surely. And then... in the worst thing that's ever happened to a person in the history of man, I'm gonna need to produce 2 of those. And this is only 1. That will craft by itself right now. The aluminium, however... Guess what? Out we go again to pick up more rocks. So, as I was saying earlier, I think before you hopped on the stream, this is not the most engaging gameplay loop, and I really think they need to do away with it. Or ease it. I still need another hour or two of sleep. Nah, my man, you just need caffeine pills. Trust me, trust me. They're absolutely brilliant. Back in the day when I have deadline coming up and you just pop like 16 of them by 10 o'clock in the morning to the point that your arms are just actually vibrating, and yeah, it's very healthy. My liver probably looks amazing, and everyone agrees. What if just ADHD pills? No, you want the opposite of ADHD pills. Like, not pills to cure ADHD, pills to give you ADHD. Then you can just vibrate off the walls and you'll never need sleep again. Basic injectors, lacking the screws. Lacking the polycarbonate plastic, which I have not looked at in a little while, and now I'm really sad. Ooh. Oh. That's what I needed all the carbon for. Oh, I forgot this. Yes. Okay. So, I need 250 of those. I need 1,500 of this, which is 20. There we go. There we go. Now, I just need to farm up the 2,000. Minus 12.5. Okay. Oh no. So that huge chunk of coal that I had, that I was like, oh, that's going to be more than enough. It's definitely not. It's definitely not. I think that's going at the bottom of the list. I think that is going squarely at the bottom of the list. And actually, I can reduce that craft by a little bit. And 20, 40. Yeah, I should be able to get away with that because I'm going to have excess carbon from other crafts as well as the carbon that's already in my inventory. Okay. Yeah, now apparently I just need to wait 50 minutes for this basic pipe. I'm not the happiest person in the world about that. Definitely not. Definitely not. So I wonder if there's a burgeoning market for just pipe. Basic bitch pipe. Yeah, would you look at that? I am not the least bit surprised. If you have a way to just produce these in bulk without doing it manually, I'd be fairly willing to bet that you could make a good amount of money off of doing that. Oh, would you look at that? I still have a whole bunch of stuff in here that I probably shouldn't be selling. Alright, so do I just get those back in the inventory, or did I just straight up delete them? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just straight up deleted them. Oops. Oh well, live and learn. Live and learn. Or did I have to go and collect them? Nope. Is that a bug or an oversight? Did I just give it to the market or something? That's not cool. That's not cool, man. Right, so don't need the aluminium anymore. Put that back in this chest. Do need that. Do need that. Damn, I'm gonna need even more coal. Alright. Time to just mine coal until my eyes stop bleeding coal. Again. Top class gameplay loop. Top class. So, I think with my earlier raving about Ashes of Creation, did I touch on the other thing that I would do differently? Yeah. Classes. I think, so what they seem to have done is it's somewhere weirdly positioned between Secret World and Arcade in a sense, but with less freedom than Secret World and more restrictions than Arcade. I know those sound like they equate to the same thing, but bear with me here. So with Secret World, you would take two weapons and combine the active abilities from those trees, passive abilities from any trees, which naturally led to some hilariously exploitative stuff, which, again, still exists on YouTube from me if you look. The fact that we're able to two-man, again, what was technically the hardest content in the game at that point, tells you everything you need to know. Something a little suspect was going on there. And then, of course, Arcade, you take 3 skill trees, combine them to get a unique class based on that. And what Ashes of Creation is doing is combining 2 skill trees. Look, it's just like Arcade Pleb Edition, if we're honest about it. But there is a bit more detail going into it than that. You seem to have... Again, this has been publicly said. So you have the ability to invest into certain things. Like directly, you can... I guess if you wanted to, you could beef up a single spell to the point of it being a tactical nuke, but that's all you can do, conceivably. And, yeah. So that feels a bit more in the vein of not Arcade. Although with the ancestral abilities that came into Arcade, that changes a little bit, but it's still really not the same thing. It's really not. Well, at least the coal is respawning on me. Saves me the pain of running everywhere for it. Yeah. Auto miners. So, obviously, a class system, I feel, should be a bit more freely defined. I think you can take certain ideas, similar to what Secret World ultimately did, but where you would essentially train in specific ways, and you could have unique interactions. Basically, I'm proposing the most absolutely mind-blowing, horrific thing ever to actually balance. But if you devise it correctly and implement it correctly, it could be the most intriguing and engaging, like, quote-unquote, class system that you've ever seen in any game ever. It would just be incredibly hard to keep it all balanced. Because let's say you do some funky martial arts training and then you're rocking around with a sword and a shield. Let's say you train Muay Thai. You then recognize that the shield is a weapon within itself, that can be used in certain ways other than just bash. Which sounds obvious, it's a silly example, but it works as an example. How do we go about this? I'm gonna get the hematite out of there for a start. Just for now. Just for now. And the steel, I'm gonna dump that as well. That should get me the space I require to get the rest of the coal. Which actually is going by quicker than anticipated. I guess because I'm just ranting on about an MMO. But now I need a drink. Yeah. I want my face turning out inside outy apple juice again. If you happen to be in England, go to Tesco. Find their like own brand 65 pence cheapo apple juice. Just drink that. It's great. No ridiculous import method. Doesn't taste like Barney the dinosaur's piss. Good. Oh, I thought it was going to tell me inventory full again. Okay, how we doing? Okay, another 360. So, 18 of these. I wish I didn't count it out. At times, I wish I couldn't do math. Definitely couldn't do it that quickly. Hey ho. Yeah, I'm not going to start that song. That was an awful film about the sexual exploitation of some poor girl by 7 very short men. It's not cool, Disney. It's not cool. I suppose she came from a broken home to begin with, so that sort of thing unfortunately happens. Okay. Yeah, 2 more. Alright. So, that should be everything I need for that, except for a little bit more hydrogen, I suppose. So if we grab out 20 of the hydrogen. Now, I don't get the hydrogen and the oxygen thing. I'm assuming those have got to be used at some point for like fuel manufacturing or something. That's what I'd be using them for. I guess that's atmospheric fuel. Honeycomb materials. Ah, okay. That's that's actually interesting. Yeah, you get tons of these. And it's ridiculous. I don't even know what to use them for. Why is that coming up over all spazzy? What was this, 44? Nope, it's just throwing a hissy fit for no reason. Alright, let's get all of these up here. Iron, well, of course. 720 is... nope. There we go, 16. 1040. 1045. Right, we'll put that back in there. With the iron, because that's what we need to work with next. And the screws, we should have the steel for that, I think. Provisionally, I think. Nobody can see what I'm looking at because camera. What's my hide camera button again? That was not the right button. Okay, I need to check my keybinds. Oh. Oh. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Here you go. There. So, this will still take another 15 minutes. But everything should be completable. And it's another 50 minutes. This is very upsetting. Very upsetting. To such a degree that I do not believe said ship is actually going to get built. I think I need to put in even more time off stream so that I have all of the parts finished. You know, not just like this stuff and fuel tanks and various other things that I'm dealing with. I think it actually needs to all be ready to be put together. And we haven't even looked at the space engines yet. I have not even looked at the space engines. So that's a extremely unfortunate problem. Anyway, let's bring me back so I can stare into your soul. And think about this. We're officially out of preparatory things that we can actually do. We just need to wait for it to tick over and actually complete. And that feels weird and uncomfortable. Alright. Let's ruin our lives by looking at what it takes to make a large dynamic core. Okay, that's pretty bad, but it's actually not as bad as I was thinking it was going to be. On the grand scheme of things, that's actually surprisingly kind. But I suspect we'll actually be dealing with just this S-sized dynamic core to begin with. That's just going to be it's just going to be how it is. No two ways around it. Okay. So, elements, containers, item containers, that's still an XS? Large size that could do that? Oh, our 3D printer's probably done. We were picking up ores for so long that I completely forgot that that was even a thing that was happening. This is pretty easy to build. I'll strap a couple of these on a small rig. So, this. Yeah, that's not going to fit. Yeah, that's not going to fit. So there's a pattern here. All right. So 1 3D printer. And I guess I'm just slapping it at the end here, but let's rotate it so it looks pretty. And we were doing a thing where we keep it all inside the lines, but instead, I can't be bothered anymore. So there we go. Alright. So what can this do again? Well, what did we actually need it for? Carbon fiber, that's interesting. Because I was producing that manually before. I guess, yes, you can auto-produce it. Good to know. Okay, I need to figure out. Got one of those. We're working on one of those. Don't need those. What was it we needed the 3D printer for? Well, this is embarrassing. Yeah. So the territory. Yeah, territory unit. Territory scanner. Oh look! IB territory scanner description. Territory scanner scans a whole territory. Territory unit. That's electronics industry. I think. Did we have one of those? I believe we had. That's also electronics industry. That's metalwork industry. These things were 3D printer M. Need 2 of them. Polycarbonate and polycalcite. Polycalcite is built in, yeah. Okay. Okay. This is not the most unreasonable thing in the world. So, uncommon fixation. Uncommon fixation. Just 10 at a time, so we'll make 2 of them. Now, the polycarbonate plastic we have is sat over here. Polycalcite we have. So in theory, I have connected this tool so that it can build stuff. That's why it's kicking up a fuss. Okay. Now it's happy. Now it is consuming. Excellent. Excellent. So next on that shopping list, the basic fixations. I suppose I can just, you know, but I wouldn't want to. Crafting 2 of those. Polycarbonate plastic 20. Polycarbonate plastic 20. Very good, very good, very good. 4 minutes. Feel like we can just do that first. While I now dig out the carbon. What? Why won't this produce? Probably inventory. Probably inventory issue. No. No. It's dipped slightly below the point that we can actually craft that. So I'm going to need about another 500 coal. Yeah, I need to go get another 500 coal. And again, the feedback is not always the clearest in terms of what the problem is. That's something that could be improved. Yep. As an excellent side note, because of technical difficulties I was having pre-stream, I forgot to get something to eat, so I'm now absolutely starving. Wonderful. But I will survive. So, what's an MMO that I haven't complained about yet? The Elder Scrolls Online. Which, for the record, in terms of the story and story content, leveling content, they improved that so dramatically that it doesn't even put it in the words. However, if you're not playing a caster, the combat is still incredibly floaty, and the sort of skill to the combat is based... It's basically based on what's essentially a screw-up. It's a bug. Like, action cancelling, animation cancelling, and that sort of thing. Which doesn't really feel that good. Yeah, that's about that's about the last one I feel I need to start slating publicly. Almost done with the coal. Then we can get the next extremely painful stage of our crafting started. Oy. Oh, come on, really? Miscounted by 1 after all that. Oh, and a couple of streams ago when I was complaining about not being able to see the borders of this little hex, I press V, I can see the borders of this little hex. And that was included in one of the tutorials, and I just wasn't paying attention. So, there you go. Sometimes complaining isn't the answer. Sometimes complaining is something you do because you just weren't listening. I call it a life lesson, but it's really not, is it? Oh yeah, this is not really 20 minutes because I got a whole bunch of upgrades for my crafting efficiency. It still tells me it's 20 minutes, which, to be completely honest, is a crushing error on their part. I would like it to correct for the revised time. I'm also going to craft this steel before I craft that polycarbonate plastic. Oh dear lord. 3 hours and 20 minutes for the basic screws, then okay, basically we are not gonna get that ship crafted today. It's not gonna happen. Because even if this is ticking down a lot faster, it's still not really fast enough. That's rough. An entire stream of gathering resources, which is basically everything I've been doing off stream. And I incorrectly thought I was in a position to get stuff done. Well, that's life. And I think it's a valuable experience for anybody looking at this game wondering, should I get it? If that kind of scenario irritates the hell out of you, go play something else. If you're okay with it, or if you have a team of friends who can get this stuff done all together, I think that this could potentially be one of the most fun games you have ever encountered. Honest assessment. Still doesn't help that much though, does it? Okay, something just finished building something. This is finished. Come to think of it, I had one of those out and I put it... Yeah. Okay. There was something else we needed to do in the metalwork industry, and I don't remember what it was. Basic combustion chamber? Maybe? Basic combustion chamber. The L size, was it not? That looks familiar. Unfortunately, we still do not have the pipes. The pipes... We do have the pipes. But do we have the other stuff? Yes, we do. We do. Okay, so that's getting going at least. I think what I really want to see is just how big these engines really are, and can I strap them onto the speeder? And then, how fast will the speeder go? Because it might be that we don't need to create an entire extra craft to put ourselves in orbit. This thing might just blow itself into orbit and then problem solved. Because once you're in space, your existing motion will just carry you. Perfect. Until you reach another gravitational body and you burn up in the atmosphere. A minor problem. I need... No, I don't. You go in there. You go in there. Right. Which one was my electronics industry again? Wasn't it this little thing here? Again, you open it and it doesn't actually tell you what it is, and if you don't remember, you gotta hit the H key. It tells me it is, in fact, the electronics industry M. So, these uncommon processors, uncommon power transformer... Okay, we need more basic fixations. 100 of them, in fact. So, uncommon processor. Add that in. Again, set the make 25. Calcium reinforced copper. I think I did have some of that. Do I have 100 of it? Probably not. Oh, would you look at that? I have 100 of it. But the aluminium iron alloy leaves a little bit to be desired. Okay. Good news, we will be crafting yet more aluminium and iron. Nope, we've got the iron. The aluminium is going to need a little bit more, however. So let's get that on there, 130 of that. We have 3. Nice, good day, good day. Okay, I'm gonna put 5 of the iron back in. Seems super pedantic, but if you are potentially going to have trouble with your inventory capacity, it seems like a good idea to get it out of the way. That's iron, that's iron, that's iron, that's bauxite. Bork. Site. Alright. Like the world's worst poetry. Dear Lord, what am I saying? So, contrary to what we've been doing so far all day, we only need 130 of this. Feel practically like a vacation. We want to be actually on this. Yeah, and there we go. I've over-harvested. Over-harvested. Perfect. So 35 of that can get in the box. 24 of that can also get in the box. And I'm now trying to remember. Ah, yes. So the other thing that's needed was these basic fixations. Needs 100 of those. Which we were able to craft those, I believe. Just in our inventory. Yeah. So the polycarbonate plastic. Gonna need 100 of it. Are you... Okay, what? How? Did I seriously do that? I did that, didn't I? That's a thing that I did, isn't it? Okay. So we need 100 of that, and we currently have 19. We have 19. You know what that means? We have to produce 2 of these. Terribly wasteful. Now, I am going to add an additional 200 carbon onto the list. For a very good reason. If I'm going to have to ultimately leave this AFK crafting, I don't want to come back and find that it hasn't actually done any crafting because it was slightly too low on resources on one point. So I need another 325 coal. And yeah, I think this stream has been a perfect example so far of why I don't think I'm going to be playing that much of this game in the future unless quite a few friends come on and we can do stuff together. Because individually, it's monotonous and painful and soul destroying. And honestly, I was going to make a marriage joke, but my wife ain't that bad. Yeah, no, that's terrible boomer joke. It's like, oh, it's like a terrible slow death, like marriage, ha ha ha. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. But yeah, that pretty much exemplifies what is wrong with trying to do anything in this game solo. You just spend your whole time picking up rocks until you get your ship, and then I assume you spend the entire time going off to another world that has a higher resource pull. But then you're essentially still doing the same thing, because of an exponential curve on tech, invariably you're going to require more and more resources to do higher and higher tier things. And that's going to lead to a position where you will never stop with this endless mining curve. And I think it's the least fun thing that this game has to offer. And that's sad. Because you should always put your best foot forward. And it's not doing that. And with all the potential that I see in it otherwise, that's a crushing shame. It really is a crushing shame. So I guess the moral of the story is I should have kept streaming and doing YouTube back in like 2010, because now I would probably have a big following that I could rope in and we could all build a giant battle cruiser together and have a blast doing it. Yeah, that's the moral of the story. Get friends. The polycarbonate plastic, yes, I'll dump the rest of that in there. Pretty sure I need to dump the rest of that in there. And what else is going on here? Basic fixations, which I didn't actually look at the timer. 20 minutes. Faster because of the perks I've got, but not quite fast enough to take the edge off. And as far as I know, let me just check if I can do the basic fixations in here. Yes, you actually can. Okay. That would be very worth doing, actually. So that I can continue on with that. And where are we? Need like 100 of those. So start. Right. And then get the rest of that polycarbonate plastic. I guess stuff it in there, or did I need it out? I don't even remember anymore. I needed a lot more than just that. That's what's building there. Okay. Okay. And when... Again, when the primary game loop is sufficient that you forget what you were even doing 3 minutes beforehand, that takes some not fantastic kinds of skill. A little depressing. A little worrying. The uncommon standard frame is Metalwork Industry M, which is currently actually doing something. Left the process 2. That hasn't even finished the first yet. Fair enough. Fair enough. Duralumin. Copper. Okay. Okay. So I should probably get 50 of that crafted up in the smelter, which is that one. Yep. This is 75 a pop. Let's just make one of those. Of course not. 50 aluminium, 100 copper. I guarantee I don't have either of those. Yeah. Okay. I'll pull the Bork out again. And the malachite, which come to think of it, can't be smelted by me anyway. How much did I need of that? Okay, okay, so the aluminium I should be able to get away with just having the one craft. That'll do the trick. And oh boy, what's going wrong with that now? Don't even have the time or inclination. Ah. Oh, yeah, and 130 of that one, which we haven't mined any of the malachite yet. It's slightly slower than the others. It's about the same. And it's a little bit more sparse. We're running around a little bit for this, but luckily it's not much of it that's required. Didn't actually queue it, did I? Again, I can't because it needs to go in a refinery. Genius! You literally said that 2 minutes ago, and you forgot it already. My god. Almost missed that one. Okay. Let's actually double check that 2 crafts of that will be enough. Because, again, I didn't actually take a mental note of how much copper is... No, we're gonna need more. So 130, 195. That'll be fine. Just one more malachite rock. Whew. Okay. Pop that in there. Pop those. And in the refinery? Yep. I need to get the copper. Do 3 of them. Alright. Luckily, these are nice and quick. Then I can get that rolling. This is rolling. This is waiting on those basic fixations, which I have in my inventory like an idiot, don't I? No? What did I do? What the... They're in here. Because they're being crafted. Seriously, there's only stacked to 20? Okay, that's incredibly annoying. So we're crafting out of this. Alright. Alright. Wait, it's crafting... Oh no, it's crafting 10 at a time, they stack up to 20. Oh, I had it in my head temporarily that they were crafting 20 at a time, and then I'd done too many. I guess this is the situation where you want to chain your storage appropriately. So raw materials are in one spot, and then they just pipe through along the chain. Crafted components, and yeah, I can see how that system will be interesting to figure out. Like, if you have to make an actual flowchart just to produce a specific item, that's kind of... I mean, it sounds like Factorio. So if they've managed to get Minecraft Star Citizen and Factorio into this game, then I'm decently impressed. Those are three things that I enjoy, except for the mining part of Minecraft. The mining part of Minecraft can just die. I like to hire other people to do that for me, people preferably who enjoy it, but I'm not above pointing a sword at them and telling them to get in the hole. Oh, somebody flew over us! Somebody flew over us! The first person I've seen since the very first night. Do we have our copper yet? We have some copper, and it produces a little bit of carbon. How delightful. How delightful. Uncommon processor. Haven't produced that yet. Okay. So actually I need to set that to produce 25. And you know what? We can start this. I don't know why we haven't started it, because we have the starting materials. It doesn't need all of them in place to do it at once. We can just go. Why is it now? Oh, because those are uncommons and I'm an idiot. Okay. Okay. What an absolute goddamn genius I am today. Well, my only excuse is when you spend a couple hours just mining and grinding and not getting to the fun part. Again, this is kind of what I hate about Minecraft. Just sitting down in, well, the mining part of Minecraft. Where you just sit down in a hole and you hit block, hit block, hit block. You're like, I really need this stuff to build this thing that I'm doing. And maybe that's the reason that I hate it. Because other people just mine to see what they can find. I mine because I specifically need something, because I have something in mind that I want to build. And when you approach it from that direction, it immediately makes the whole mining, grinding system anti-fun. That is a very reasonable... I am very tempted to pull this webcam off just to show you the cat that is sleeping adorably on the sofa just behind my monitor. Or, you know what else I can do? Let's do this the weird way. Yeah, there we go. Adorable. His sister's around the house somewhere, but I haven't seen her in a little while. But this little boyo, he likes to hang out with me. I guess because this is the only part of the house that isn't like 40 degrees and 90% humidity, because yeah, damn right I got the aircon on aiming directly at me. Otherwise I'm just gonna melt. Wicked Witch of the West style, but... Was it the East or the West that was in the movie? Which one got crushed? I don't know. I don't know. It's been a very long time since I watched The Wizard of Oz, and I'm pretty sure I drifted off about 5 minutes in because... Yeah. Even as a kid. Even as a kid. Show me The Exorcist at age 7, that's a comedy. Wizard of Oz... Okay. So everything's producing. Feels kind of good. Feels kind of good. Not gonna lie, it's it be achieving. Okay. That finally is on the go. It's polycarbonate plastic. Can I produce that? Probably here. Chemical plant, right? Because again, I've never actually bothered to look. Polymers? Polycarbonate plastic. Yes. Apply. How many of those did we need to craft? Oh, 20, right? Yep, okay. So you make 20 of those. I guess now I'm actually being smart about it. And I honestly have not been up until this point. Because I'm using the machines to craft for me. I can cancel that. Screws then. Where'd that be produced? Okay. Of course, this metalwork thing is already producing. But I can take a few of those screws and do something with it. I guess I could just produce another metalworking thing, but you know, bite me. Okay, so I'm gonna be, what, 175? No, 165 steel short of that one. How did that come about? 165. Which typically is not a convenient figure. Hey, Luca. He just keeps rolling into ever more delightful positions. Why did I just add that twice? Pay attention, man. Pay attention. Okay, 300 of that. 150 that. Good times. Good times. This'll be okay, though. This'll be okay. Now, I get the feeling that the efficiency on this, I need to manually research all of that, or possibly... Where was... Advanced nanocrafter efficiency? No, it can't be. That's what it's doing right now. And it's also... that's also my in-suit crafter-madoodle? Don't know. Don't know. Industry possibly is a good place to look, isn't it? Yeah, yeah. Industry efficiency. Here we go. Metalwork efficiency. Okay. We are just going to go balls to the wall and queue all of them. Honestly, everything else can wait on that. I'm quite comfortable with pushing those through first. And putting this on pause until after. Because the initial series will get us speed upgrades, well, relatively quickly, I suppose. Industry efficiency handling. What is this? when put down. What does that explicitly mean? Let's assume it means that I should alternate these talents. Because if it means placed sort of on the ground like it is, that would probably be good. And here we go again with a multi-week. Jeez. It is going to take so long to get everything unlocked for everything. But it's alright. At least this is happening in the background. This... I can just straight up buy that. Done. Why not? YOLO. That's what the kids were saying 5 years ago, is it not? Alright. Next. You are done. You are still doing. You are most assuredly still doing 27 minutes. You have a lot to go. You are basically done. Good job. You have a very, very long time to go. Alright. Alright. Oh, look at all these gorgeousness. Things are happening. Things be happening. Let's just get these processes and everything in. Alright. Uncommon processor, the polycarbonate plastic. I don't remember where I was utilizing that even at this point. Basic combustion doesn't fit. That's actually problematic. It's actually extremely problematic. Aha, right. Right. Yeah. I guess I'm gonna need another chest. Which is just one more thing to craft. Slash. Oh yeah, I can craft one of these already. No. Make 2. What am I actually missing? Basic injectors, basic screws, right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is going to take a little while to get the basic screws. Just a little while. Even with the accelerated crafting, it's still a hell of a time. Okay. In which case, let's just take a quick look at what the very large container actually requires. Probably more than I want to invest. Basic components are actually very easily doable. Basic hydraulics very easily doable. Basic reinforced frame requires the metalworking, but is still very easily doable. Yeah. I think that might be a good idea. So, let's see if I just want to do 2 of these. Let's calculate it in the inventory. That's just going to go on forever. Not industry containers, item containers. You see, the container hub is something I really want to do eventually. This just sounds magnificent. Like linking them all together, access as if they were only one. But I wonder if you can hook that into the machines. in any way. That would make life very easy. Actually, as an input and an output, so I can stop with all the fiddling. Anyway, that's not what we're on to right now. So if I just want to do one of these for now, 440... Let me put my teeth back in. 432 of these. I definitely have 2 of them sitting around over here. In fact, I have 80. So... 132 minus 80, give or take. Take it up by 10 because got to compensate for that. 360. How about we just go 36 instead? And then the aluminium iron alloy will... I think we need to produce more of that as well. Alright. Alright. That's right. We'll solve for that in a little bit. The container... piping container. It doesn't reset what you're looking at if you search for it, but if you browse to it, it will drop. And it's a little annoying. Basic hydraulics, 250 of them. That's legitimately 250 of them. Ouch! Ugh. Alright, so we're producing 1,500 steel again and 1,000 pipes. Doesn't sound painful in the slightest. Oh boy. Oh boy. Alright. So again, I'll just add them all into this queue for now so that I have the list, and then we can work on putting them into the actual industry in a bit. Extra 0 for that. This is another 20 steel. Not looking forward to farming that up. But that's essentially what I need for the hydraulics. And then the basic reinforced frame, of course. 2 of those. Another 1,030 steel. Right. Not the best thing in the world. Yeah. Alright. So if I check up on the industry components, this is actually done. So, ooh, whatever that is. Oh, wham. Processors in, put the basic fixations in, put the rest of the polycarbonate plastic in. It's not really the rest, there's still a ton more producing. Okay, that's going for days, that's going for days, and this is fine. This is fine. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch this to probably not that. Nah, this will be fine. Okay. Going slightly mad, I suspect, but that is the way of things. Yeah, we already confirmed that that one's finished. One yawning cat. Okay. Okay. It's telling me 19 minutes. Don't really want to wait that long. Done. Victory. I don't know why it's pulling up these additional talent points when it's supposed to be generating them and then syncing them. I'm not sure why there is a pool that exists here that is in addition to all of this somehow. A little confused by that, to put it mildly. Right. Right. And this is still going. I understand. Basic injectors. Do you not craft the basic injectors? No, they're down here. I need 250 of them. So I do need the screws. Isn't that delightful? Okay. Okay. 315, so 455 of the hematite. What's that one, is it? No, carbon. What am I doing? I knew that. Probably do need the carbon, so I'm gonna go farm it separately. Okay, 455 iron to get. Right. Oh, sneaky. Sneaky, I see you. So I guess we're back to the phase where I need to think of another MMO that I can rip on. Criticize it into the ground while I pick up iron. Not necessarily a lot coming to mind, you know. So, it's the time to talk about the fact that I think I would like to run a D&D game here. No, maybe one session a week, one of the streams. Get a few people in on it, have some fun. Maybe D&D or maybe something very similar, but you know, essentially just fire up one of the many software tools that allows us to coordinate those things without having actual dice in front of us. And yeah, try and have a blast. No details conclusive because it needs to be arranged and made functional, and obviously I need to get the people in. But yeah, should be entertaining. I mean, if a lot of what I do is whinge about MMOs and how they failed, yeah, good plan. But if I'm doing a lot of that, it would be nice to see where those game systems kind of began. And the pen and paper stuff, in some cases, is where a lot of these MMOs directly evolved from. A lot will introduce their own systems, but a lot of them, when you look under the hood, you're almost still running the exact same dice roll calculations. And that's just how things are done. So it's a particularly pertinent and valid thing to look at. That's good. Oh, I bombed that up too long. Okay. 260 of that. Alright. We're back on the coals. Airbender. Do I even want to know? That's something to do with producing like a metric ton of oxygen and or hydrogen. I know it. Oh, Tox is awake again. Hello. Dude, if you can have a dice cam on your desk, you can absolutely use dice. In fact, I was thinking about it the moment I said it. I was also thinking that we should just get an animated version of Terry Crews to use as your face. You walked off again? Growing boy needs his breakfast, I assume. Power. Indeed. Hey. Oh, this is the point where I'm allowed to say screw that, right? Yeah. Do I actually have enough to do that? Potentially. Potentially. Nah, stream delay cause iPad. Wow, that's quite a hefty delay, man. That's a hefty delay. I need to get that combustion engine into here. Okay. I just read that as no delay on phone, but Chad won't load. Do you mean the video? I'll wait for the response to that one. What's the... Basic injectors missing. Still. Because they are down there. Damn. Damn, damn. Okay. I do know weird, champ. Yeah. And I'm kind of maxing out the capacity on all of my inventory sets as well. Potentially, instead of trying to brute force the engines, I should just be sensible and try and craft the containers. But I don't wanna. Why is that still not crafting? Oh, possibly because I put all the steel in here. Where's the rest of it? Okay, what if I got consuming steel that I wasn't paying attention to? Nothing as far as I can tell? Okay. That just means I'm woefully under the mark on the steel. What's up? Where's the figure you bought? Well, that's an interesting story because naturally it's all written in Japanese and there's a few things that I don't understand, and given that it's I don't want to screw it up, I'm not gonna guess. At this point it's not in the background already. I need to really tidy that up. Like, my background is kind of amazing. We've got a set of like really old Japanese books. We've got a lamp, like a light, some weird folders that Eriko's brother just left here ages ago. And then, of course, this absolute disaster that's on my desk, which is like my filing system, which Eriko insisted on and then made a mess out of, so I don't want to touch it. Love it. Love it. Yeah, it does need the screws to complete. But yeah, we're gonna assemble it as soon as I can get Eriko to actually focus for a minute. Yeah, because I just want her to check over all of the instructions, make sure that nothing is going horribly wrong. 405 is not too bad. 200 of this. Just burn the files. I'm damn tempted to, because if you haven't come to get them already, clearly you don't frickin' need them, right? Whatever, let's overproduce on that. Okay. Iron 405. Out we go collecting little rocks again. Easy free room. Yeah, I mean, I gotta be honest, I kinda want to rejig a lot of stuff. If I had the option, I'd just kind of rebuild the whole house. It's not exactly designed for living in, and it would allow us to do certain things like waste less space on the living room ceiling, give Eriko her own studio, give me my own studio with a door, because this one doesn't have a door, which makes the climate control difficult. And, well, I mean, okay, June being June, a door wouldn't stop him. He'd invade my space regardless, but... yeah. I'd like to redesign a few things. Do it from scratch and put in a proper central heating system. Oh god, insulation and a proper central heating system so that it isn't -10 in the house at winter, when this country doesn't even get down to minus temperatures in winter. You go outside to get warm. How that was ever considered sensible, I don't know. And let's see. You can add those rope things at the door. Nooses? I don't think that's a safe idea. Rope things. Keeps heat in. But how would I not take the opportunity to twist it into something sinister and wrong? It's my job, and I want a raise. Layers of rope or beads. I have no idea what you're actually talking about here. What? Like you're entering a hut? I live in a civilized country. I grew up in civilized countries. The only hut I've ever seen is on the Discovery Channel. Oh, and in Star Wars. $325. Clearly. Yeah, ain't got no doors. Sounds like Africa, mate. If you're not careful, lion walks in, eats your family. Pretty brutal. I totally told a raid group that it happened to a friend of ours once. Hey. And did you wake up yet? You're not even gonna hop into chat. I would honestly not be surprised if you weren't sleep typing. You little sloth. Wait a minute, what? Oh, okay. I take ages to get up from bed. You should get like a winch. You know, just put a harness on you and then somebody can turn it and it's like... and eventually you get out. I'll just wait about 30 seconds for you to hear that. That sounds convenient. Not the response I was waiting for. Yeah. So I think maybe in 2 weeks' time, I might actually be able to build that ship that I was aiming to build for the last 2 weeks. There are people with them, but... I just haven't been able to put in enough time. Check disk. Sent you what I was talking about. That's a tiger. How does a tiger keep you cool? You didn't think this through. You know what I need? I need a thing where I just bring this up. I wonder if I can do that quickly. Tiger is intimidating. Tiger scare heat away. Reasonable. Reasonable. I see where your logic comes from there. Okay. There's the other basic combustion doohickey majig. Yeah, exactly that thing that I just said. God damn it. God damn it. Okay. Okay. You know, I can probably fix a lot of things by just strapping this on, right? I'ma go eat and I'll join you soon. So putting this on the very front of the vehicle definitely isn't going to spoil the view. No, I don't quite like the alignment of that. I'm gonna bring this feather back. There we go. That's more aesthetically pleasing. Alright. You see, man? You see? hopefully. How do I connect this again? Okay. Can I put fuel in it yet? No. There's a refuel tool. That's how you did that. Okay. Oh, and apparently that was on 6. And the flatten tool was over here. Okay, whatever. Whatever. You need to select fuel. Yes. Been a little while since I've done this. I did select fuel. Okay. That's exactly what it sounds like when you fuel your car at a petrol station. Flawless. Flawless. Right, so the mass of this is what exactly? How do I find out? There we go. 9.34 tons. What? Dude, that's heavier than your mom. Alright. Basic screws. It'll take 3 hours and 20 minutes. Arrow. Just like that accent. Okay. Right. There's kind of no way around that, really. Of those left. 6 of those left. Right. So, I guess I better start it on this then. 500 of that, 250 of that. Yeah. Yeah. Just gonna put it in 495. How much iron is sat in here? Exactly 25. I'm okay with that. Except for the fact that I'm going to need more iron afterwards anyway, so I may as well just put 270. Alright. Pure aluminium to that. Back to the grindy grind. Yeah. So I'm definitely running out of things to say about grinding rocks. It is what it is. It is what it is. you, more of you. And you know, maybe I've drawn on everybody's suffering too long. Maybe I actually need a bit of a pick me up, a pick us up stream after this one. I might just do an impromptu full day thing, because I ain't gonna see the wife or the kid for hours yet. Grab some food, run some Sea of Thieves with Darks. It'll be good for us. We can be happy again. We won't have to look at a single rock. I think that's what we're getting at. I think what I'm gonna do is get this, get the required materials to continue the rest of the production chain. Sort of. Not all of it. I'm not in the mood for doing all of that steel, given that I've already done that quantity once, and it wants twice that again. And then we'll just call it for Dual Universe for now. We might pop back in when I actually have a few people who can help out with this, but yeah. I don't think, unless you have all of your stuff pre-built, and you have a lot of people helping you, I don't think it's a good streaming game. Finally, I've come to that absolute conclusion. It's more the sort of YouTube highlights video kind of game. And then it would probably work pretty well. But as it stands, would I recommend you try and stream Dual Universe? No. Would I recommend you play Dual Universe? Very possibly. Again, if you are a fan of sort of the Minecraft-esque flexibility, Space Engineers, if you want a game that definitely didn't live up to its potential, that kind of free-formed creativity, combined with the idea of just flying through space and doing stuff. But most importantly, if you have a big crew of people, and or you like playing this like, basically like people used to play Planetarian back when I was in high school, where some stuff just takes days to actually finish building. Scrap would be better to stream than this. That's something we could do at some point, maybe. Still haven't actually tested that tank inside a warehouse, have we? I feel like a lot of the development on Scrap has been skipped over because it wasn't streamed. So we miss out on that. Jumping in at the end is a little depressing. But yeah, to play, I think if you have a group of friends, get this game. I'm expecting a massive fail with the tank in the warehouse. Sir, you underestimate my engineering prowess. Did you see how many logic lines were on that tank? How could anything with that level of complexity possibly go wrong? Uh, 2,000 pure iron. I will not be farming that today. So yeah. I don't know if you want to hop in and say goodbye to yourself. I think you're about the only person left watching the stream, and I'm a bit sad about it. Interesting. It's the game shitting itself that I'm more worried about. You seen how like... Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. That's a good point, because it would not be a nice thing to stream from my perspective being hosted in Europe with my, like, half-second lag on everything. Torturous, even. Yeah. $2,000 of these and 1,000 of the other. Is this like 44 again? Yeah. Orban needs 1,000. And then on this one, oh, that would be 16. No, 14. 1,400 iron and 700 carbon. Oh, I love it. How marvelous. Whatever, that's what's getting crafted. And 700 carbon, and I will just deal with this later. But now, I think I'm going to shut off the stream and go and cry in a corner. Maybe do that. So yeah, thanks for watching the amazing shipbuilding. We've got precisely this much right here. This. We've got that much done of it. We've got 2 basic combustion chambers, which is like 1 fraction of one of these engines, and that's just the engines. Like I said, this is YouTube highlights stuff, not a good streaming game. Unless you already have everything, or you have a team of people who can build stuff with you. So on that depressing note, frame ending. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe Tox will be awake for the next stream. And we can save ourselves from 3 hours of me choosing various MMOs to pick on while I mine rocks.